everyone, it's Cohen. Doing my first video with my laptop today, so hopefully this works out well. Never used it before for video, so let's see what happens. I've made a list of everything that I'm going to talk about today. On the 23rd, which was yesterday, was my 9 months on T, so that's really awesome. Some of the things that I noticed the most within the last month or so has been that I've actually gotten a lot more facial hair, as you can see. It completely connects all the way down and under and around. I do have a little bit of stubble on my cheeks because I haven't shaved in a couple days. Unfortunately, acne is not fun when you're shaving, so yay, second puberty. My stash is coming in. It looks a little patchy, but when I'm up close in the mirror, it's just that, see, like, it just doesn't want to go in a certain direction. I have a crazy stash. That's what I'll call it. So yeah, facial hair I really noticed in the last month and a bit that it's just really coming a lot. My voice has changed a little bit. I noticed that it has deepened a little bit more. I also noticed because for the past couple weeks I've actually started doing some karaoke at a local bar here, which is Steel Lounge. I will talk about them later, but I'll mention that I go to Steel Lounge usually on Tuesdays, and I've been doing some karaoke just for fun. It's a really nice place to go, and my voice cracks a lot more than it used to. So up until around 8 months, there was only a little bit of cracking, but I definitely did apologize during one of my last songs that I did at karaoke night because I did squeak quite a bit. We had a good laugh about it, but I guess that's one way of overcoming my fear of squeaking, or maybe the changes in my voice is I went up and did karaoke, and up until 4 weeks ago, I had never done karaoke before in my life. So it was pretty fun, I must say, and I keep going back, so it's pretty good. I've noticed that I sweat a lot more in the past couple months. Before it wasn't too bad. It's not like I'm dripping in sweat or anything. I've just noticed that there is a big difference. When I go to sleep, sometimes I'm really cold, and then when I wake up, I'm just sweaty. And even just if I forget to put on deodorant first thing in the morning and I go around and do some stuff, I notice that I definitely get sweatier than I used to. So don't forget to put on your deodorant, otherwise you're gonna be the smelly kid in class. And Adam Sandler knows that's not a fun thing, so don't be the smelly kid in class. My hair and my fingernails, I notice, grow a lot quicker as well. I used to cut my fingernails maybe once every 2 weeks. Now I find myself cutting my fingernails once a week because they grow that fast. My hair grows about an inch or so every month, which is quite a bit, but I'm not complaining about it. It's just that I have to cut my own hair a lot more now, and I did decide to try to cut my hair about a month ago by myself, and it went pretty well. So I just keep on trimming myself up, and when I actually need to get a cut, I go to my stylist that I go see. She has her own place, so I go there versus going to a barber or something. She knows exactly what I want, and she's been doing my hair since I was 16, so it's worked out for my benefit. I haven't really had to venture into the barber shop and worry about passing, or I find I don't know what I'm talking about a lot. Like, this hairdresser that I go to, I bring a picture, or I tell her, I try to pick a celebrity actually, and I say, you know what their hair looks like now? And if I have to show her a picture, I show her. Not everybody can go off a picture, so be careful about that as well, but she's really good at it. So I found that if I just let her know whose hairstyle I'm kind of going for, then that's what she gives me, and I end up being pretty happy with it because I don't know what anything means as far as hairstyles go and how you cut hair. My mom's a hairstylist, but I don't know anything, so it's beneficial to actually try to find something so that when you go in, you know what you're talking about, because I sure as heck don't. I've noticed that as well with pants. Um, I am only 5'3", and my waist is around 28 to 30, depending on the size of the type of the pants. But everybody always tells me that I need to get pants that fit, and my problem is that I don't know anything. I just want to wear pants. So at the end of the day, everybody's telling me like, "Oh, go here and get these pants," and I'm looking at them like, "Okay, boot cut, skinny cut. I don't know cuts. I don't know fits. I guess I don't. I just want to wear pants." So I've been having a hard time with that just because I am so short and it's hard to find the same length. So usually I am having to hem them or I tuck them into my shoes. And that works out just fine for me, but I guess in the future I am going to have to find out how to buy proper size pants in the proper section. I'm just at a loss for now. So, but I know that some of you guys probably struggle with being smaller dudes and trying to find the proper fitting pants that don't make you look like a hobo. So I'm still learning. When I learn a little bit more for the rest of you who are as confused as me about that kind of stuff, I will for sure let you know when I find a pair of pants that fits pretty good. What else? Also, passing has been really easy. I know with the facial hair, but up until maybe a couple months ago, I was still the odd time getting misgendered. But with the facial hair explosion, it's been helping. I've also found that a lot of people are not, well, they're just upset about not passing, and I get it. I understand completely. I did notice something where someone was saying that they were asked for their name. Usually Starbucks, a fast food place, will ask for your name if you're waiting for food or your drink. So I noticed that a couple guys were talking about how that happens to them, and instead of hearing a masculine name because they see the person in front of them, and unfortunately, some of us still look feminine, and it's hard to pass. So one thing that I suggest is if you find that you're giving places your male name that you go by now, and they're giving a different name that sounds female, it's probably just because they're confused. They could be being jerks, so if you're mad about it, be mad about it. One thing that I noticed though is that most last names are gender neutral. So if you're having a problem with passing and you don't want to be outed in public or you're going to be upset later on and it's probably going to put a dent in your day, I'm thinking that maybe next time you go out, try giving your last name. Because if there is no gender to that name whatsoever, and that's what's written on the paper, or on your cup, they're just going to call that, and that's going to be a lot easier for you. And maybe that'll alleviate some of your dysphoria and everything else that goes along with being misgendered. So next time you go out, somebody asks for your name, and you've been having troubles, and you've been getting passed off as female, unfortunately, it happens, but I'm going to recommend try the last name thing. I've used it before. It worked out fine for me. So maybe just try doing that. It'll alleviate some of your dysphoria. It will help with public circumstances, and it also will make sure I'm going to say probably 80% of the time, somebody is just going to assume that it's a last name, or they're just going to call the name because they don't know. So if they don't know if it's male or female and they just see a name and it's like, they're just going to call the name. So maybe give that a whirl, see if that works out for you guys. I also am going to upload a video on the 5th or 6th, because I will be 3 months post-op for my top surgery. At around 2.5 months, I started doing light weights again. I stuck with 5 pounds because I really don't want to stretch my scars at all. I like how they turned out. I'm super happy with my chest. And so for me, I started out 2.5 months post-op, lifting 5-pound weights, just doing some arm exercises, a little bit of chest and back, but nothing crazy, just so that I'm not always sitting around doing nothing. And what I found is, even with that little bit, my muscle definition is actually coming back. So I had lost it all during the time that I was off for my surgery, but now it's slowly starting to come back. And even though it's slow, it's still coming back. So I'm really happy with that. So anybody who's post-op and is kicking around waiting, I'm gonna say, like, I was told 2 months by my doctor, but a lot of people wait 3 to 4 months to go back to a gym. I did 2.5 months just with some light lifting. So whatever you guys are comfortable with is what you should do. I'm giving you my personal input and what I'm doing, but at the end of the day, whenever you are comfortable to start working out again, is that's up to you, as long as you follow what your surgeon says. If your surgeon says wait 2 months, then I would wait 2 months. If your surgeon says wait 3, wait 4, wait it, because you may cause some problems, or just like something that might not be as appealing to you later. So just keep your warnings and then do what makes you feel comfortable. And then you will get to where you want to be. And slowly after that, you won't really need to. You can build up, build up, build up, and then it's just back to what you were doing or your brand new routine that you started into because you're confident enough now that you have your chest. Um, I noticed as well some people will talk about misgendering with family. And I've been transitioning well, on testosterone, 9 months obviously, but coming out and using a preferred name and even just coming out to myself and another friend, it's been about 2 years now. So I've noticed that with my family, they are using Cohen, they're using he, him, all that kind of stuff. The only time that it ever does come back, we are a very nostalgic family. We talk a lot about past stuff. We look at a lot of photos. I'm 100% okay with my old photos. My views are that's who I needed to be to become who I am now, and I'm completely okay with any or all pictures of me pre-transition. So for me and my family, I've noticed that when we get nostalgic or we talk about something that happened before, because I may have been female at that point in time, a she may slip. But I hear it. We all hear it because it's something that we used to be called, and now we're so used to something else, and it popped up again, and we're like, ah, crap. Well, I'm just here to tell you that slips happen. My family is 100% supportive of me. Like, it's insane how supportive they are, and they still slip, and usually that's just because you are in a conversation that is leading back to something else. And I find, and I've noticed that some people talk about it, that they forget that they're trans, or they will even misgender themselves sometimes because you are in that state of mind where if somebody's talking about something and you had a point in your life where you experienced the same thing and then you're talking about it, it becomes almost confusing in your own mind sometimes because you know that at that point everybody knew you as this and now you're this. And you know what? I'm going to admit I've misgendered myself just because I've been talking about past things and it happens. And it doesn't mean that I'm not trans. It just means that that happened back in my life when I was female, and remembering that experience, it's not necessarily that I called myself female right out, but I could have said something that would have insinuated that I was female. But either way, you're trans. Don't worry about it. If it happens, you know what? We go through so much stuff that it's surprising all the things that we can remember, and especially with our families that are supportive, it's amazing that they are constantly remembering. And if they're people that you don't see a lot and they're doing it, that's amazing. And that's what I'm finding in my transition. So I've I've taken it back. I've been more laid back about those types of things because it's not always an on purpose type thing. It does hurt, but it depends how much you put into that situation. If you're gonna get really upset about it, then it's gonna affect you. If you're gonna just say, yeah, it happened, because if the conversation carries on and it's not broken apart, then why point it out? Because you know what, maybe that person didn't even notice that they did it either. So you gotta fight your battles with certain things like misgendering and things like that. And I'm telling you, at the end of the day, if you actually take the time to only get upset at the things worth getting upset for, like a stranger bullying you or almost starting a fight with you over your gender, then of course be upset about it. But I found I stressed out a lot in the beginning of my transition, and now it's a lot easier to just let it pass. And I'm sure you guys are looking at me and you're like, well, you have a beard, and your voice is deep, and you look like a guy. So, of course, it's not going to bother you. I'm telling you that I did this even before any of this. So, I've just found that it actually has made my transition easier, and I want to speak on that. Let's see. T levels. We will talk about T level. My doctor that I go to is a very informed doctor. She herself is trans, and so I have the utmost faith in her. In Canada, she is actually the most experienced and knowledgeable doctor in trans health. I've been in contact with a lot of people who say that their T dose goes up almost every time that they go to their doctor for their hormone checkup. And that scares me. I had a friend recently, I won't say his name, it's not important, but was on a pretty high dosage, about 2.5 was what this person was on, and I've heard a lot of people up in that high end. And I took him because he is now going to see the same doctor as I am, so we went together. And the doctor came into the room and said to him, "What moron put you on a dosage that high?" And totally felt bad for him, because it's when you go that high, things start to revert and it messes with your health. And you already have two hormones that are battling in your body that are gonna, like, play musical chairs, so what to speak, with your innards. And you don't want that. Usually, most people range from being on zero point 0.5 to maybe 1.5. 1.5 is still a high end. I don't hear a lot about it. I've talked to my doctor. It's not that common that anybody really usually goes over 1 unless their hormones are really out of flux. But when my friend told me that he was on 2.5, it scared the living crud out of me, because I'm 9 months on T and my dosage is 0.75. And that was just switched about a month ago. So up until a month ago, I was actually only on 0.5, and it's been doing okay for me. And if your doctor thinks that you do need a higher dosage because you have that much more estrogen, I was born with more testosterone in my body, so the testosterone just picked up and kept carrying on like that. But I just want to warn everybody that when you go to your doctor and your doctor says, these are what your T levels are, or these are what your estrogen levels are, for anybody who is M to F watching my video, I've discussed in depth with my doctor. I asked for my T level, and she said, I can give you your T level, but I'm going to let you know that those numbers actually really don't mean anything for trans people. When cisgendered people go to get hormone tests done, those levels can be properly calibrated because they are producing those naturally. And doctors and statistics know that pretty much a cisgendered male should range from here to here, and a cisgendered female should range from here to here. Well, we're trans. We were born in female bodies. Our dominant hormone is estrogen. So therefore, estrogen is our main source, and now we are implicating the testosterone to come in and take over. So what that means is, because we are technically female bodied, even though we look like men, even though we could be stealth for the rest of our lives and everybody knows that, our bodies will actually never convert to the point where if we get a T level reading, it will actually mean something. Because no one knows at this point in time what the proper level for a trans person on the opposing hormones is supposed to be. So for me, being born female and now taking male hormones, there is no level that we are actually supposed to sit at, because even if we're sitting at what a cis male or cis female is sitting at, it doesn't calibrate the same, because our bodies weren't made to work the same way as a cisgendered male. So our levels are something else all upon their own. We can sit there and roughly gauge, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't mean anything. So please, when you go to your doctors, please remember that the level at which your hormones are is just like a very, very, very rough guideline. And they don't really mean anything. It's just literally a number that you're given. And unfortunately, in our bodies, it doesn't mean much when you hear that number. Also, if your dose is being pushed above 1 to 1.5 cc, then maybe you should talk to your doctor about that, because you don't want to have things revert back. Because when you have too much of one hormone going into your body, for me, testosterone, if I get too much of it, estrogen's going to fight back, revert it back into estrogen, and then at that point, I could slow down my transition, which nobody wants to do. So please, I'm just saying that because I want everybody to be careful. I've come into contact with a couple people, friends with a couple people who have had this problem of too high of dosage, and it does play a toll on your body. And those things that you worry about when you start hormones that they warn you could happen, those are going to become more prominent because of your levels being so out of whack. So you want to be really careful with that. So make sure that whoever your doctor is, whatever your doses is, you want to make sure that it is proper and that you are under the care of somebody who does know what they're doing. I just wanted to share that with everybody, in case there is anybody who is noticing that their level is a little bit, like their dose is a little bit high, and that some of their changes have slowed down, or that there's certain female aspects that may come back. One big one is that sometimes your shark week will come back. So if that does happen, then maybe you want to check in on that. And either way, if your shark week does start again, you do want to get to your doctor and see why this is happening. I think that is pretty much all I have to talk about. I've done a pretty long video. I apologize. I know that most of you guys watch my videos, and I'm very grateful for it. I know that I do talk a lot. but I do want to try to give everybody proper information and as much as possible. I started out my transition with not knowing much. My only trans friend was in Baltimore, and obviously the workings of how things are in the States and in Canada are very different. So, as far as actually transitioning in a medical form, it took me longer. For support, it was amazing because my buddy was there for everything, and I'm so grateful for him. Thanks, Till. And, but it's just really hard. So the reason why I do these long videos, if you guys can't sit through them, I'm sorry. For those of you that do sit through them, I do hope that I've helped in some way. And yeah, so I guess this video was pretty much letting you guys know about my facial hair, about any other like nail growth, hair growth, muscle definition, a little bit about my surgery to do with the lifting and stuff, and obviously T levels and dosages, my voice, that kind of stuff. So if you guys have any other questions that you would like me to answer, you can comment below. You can email me if you want to. That is also in the description. Usually I leave my email there. But in any case, any questions, like I said before, I will not talk about my lower half unless it is referring to my opinion on bottom surgery. But other than that, feel free to ask me questions. I will answer them on my videos. I will make up a nice little list of questions. If I get enough, I'll do just a question and answer video. And keep yourselves posted for my 3-month update for my top surgery. I hope you guys all had a great weekend, and I hope your week ends up being great. On Friday, Trans Fellas, which is a private FTM genderqueer support group that I run, we are doing a fundraiser at Steel Lounge in Hamilton, Ontario. I will not give all the details just because this is out there for the entire world to see, but the gist of it is that we are running a fundraiser, we are doing a drag show, we are doing raffle prizes, we are selling bracelets, and cover at the door is $5. All the money that we raise is going to go back to our group. All of our members in our group are going to be in need of FTM products, hormone money, or surgery money. So what our goal is to do is all the money that we raise from all those things that I just talked about, we're going to do fundraisers on a regular. So anything that we raise from that will go into a transition fund for the group, and anytime that any of the members is in need of help, then all they need to do is approach me and my buddy Chase, who run Trans Fellas, and we will figure out an appropriate amount of money, whether it is for an FTM related product, cost of hormones, or even writing a larger check for surgeries. That's what our group's goal is, along with our support meetings and everything like that. So, if anybody is from Toronto, Burlington, Niagara, Hamilton, please on Friday night come down to Steel Lounge at 11:30 for our fundraiser, our show. It's going to be awesome. And have a great weekend. Have a great month. It's sunny outside. Canada is getting some nice weather. So that is awesome. Everyone take care. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.